Welcome to another conversation. We are catching up now with Velvet. This is the second one in this series. We got to speak to Velvet Eldred before she left Australia as she flew across the continents and landed in Mongolia. We're going to now talk with Saraa Munkhbayar, who she has been working with and exploring incredible parts of Mongolia through that invitation, and we're going to find out a little bit more about where that taken Velvet and what you've got to do. But first of all, I'd like to say hello, Velvet and Saraa.
Hello, Mel.
Hello.
We're in
Mongolia, yeah. And you look cold.
Oh yeah, well, far north girl. Yeah,
Yes.
They have been very kind to my whinging.
Fantastic. Well, I want to start in the middle where you two met, because I know you've both had incredible lives. That's what's brought you both together, because you have a common interest, and we'll get to that. But let's start with that first reach out you made, Velvet. Is that how you found each other?
Yeah. Well, as you know from the last podcast, I've always dreamed about going to Mongolia, and I was just looking at on Facebook, Mongolian travel, Mongolian travelers guide, friends of Mongolia. And I was just looking at the names, and it was like Sarah's name just kind of lifted up off the page. It was just one of those magic moments where I went, that's the name. And I sent her a Facebook message going, hi, I'd like to come to Mongolia. These are my skill sets. And then the response was incredible. Saraa runs a summer camp school teaching English, was looking for volunteers. Saraa then runs the tourist organization, who I learned that through her giving authentic experiences to people, that money supports the community. And I just kind of fell in love with her. It was an instant, I know this woman's heart. And Mel, you know the way Spirit looks after me. So there was Saraa going, come to Mongolia, you can teach English, get up to see the reindeer herders. And she was the whole package. It was really that simple. Yeah.
Fantastic. So Saraa, you out of the blue got a message from someone random in another country. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, thank you. Then is also I have also heart feeling, and this to when is communicated Facebook as a messenger, and there's also every morning I like to because I'm on community development, and there's guest house owner, and there's also a politician. I have a lot of our tasks. Every morning I send some nice pictures, Mongolian pictures. She send me nice pictures. We also being friends like in the sisters. And it's also I always still busy. I'm always think where is Velvet every morning. Then it's send a message. Then it's also is like spiritually we already contacted like in sisters.
Yeah,
I'm so happy.
Yeah. So that's amazing. I mean, I spend a lot of time promoting the values of the internet and Facebook and WhatsApp and all these international global platforms. But here is an example where you really can reach out through the screen and connect with someone and end up face to face. Like, just because you met through the screen doesn't mean that you don't form a relationship, but you could both work out that you were aligned and interested in the same thing. You do this summer camps. You do that every year?
Yes, because this summer camp was established 40 years ago during the Soviet time, and then it's also it has worked in the long time, but is since 2020 because of the pandemic and the COVID pandemic, it was closed. Then is also every time I have some of the very critical and this local government also to my friends also, okay, we have to keep this summer camp for the children, because it's only the Mongolia has transferred free market system. Then it's also like democracy, everything become private. Then is only one thing which is owned by government is I always say to myself, Sarah, maybe you should work. This place must work. Keep going. This children's summer camp for only kids. This is Mongolian children's bright future must be there. Otherwise, there is nothing left. Everybody, private sector, they own it. Also, like in the became also. I don't know in the future in my heart. Maybe I have to help this summer camp save for only Mongolian children.
Mm.
Then as I applied the job, then as I got good score for this position, then it's just I became director of this summer camp. Then it's also social media, local people are very appreciated. 1,000 comments is very right person who appointed in this summer camp. After the 3 years, this summer camp was opened by us. First year, then it's still people are very appreciated. Of course, this is very hard condition. 40 years ago, it was building is too old, water supply system too old, electricity is too old. There is so many thousand problems every morning. But as I say, Sarah, keep going with my friends. And that is luckily I found her, my colleagues, and it's also very positive people gathered. We worked 1 month. So there are a lot of children, they wish it being friends this summer camp.
Yeah.
They cried, a lot of activities, very lovely kids I met. Then it's pushed me up. Sarah, keep going. The spirituality, mentally, bodily, I also, with my colleagues, we have done it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was beautiful to teach the children English because these children, look, Mel, the quality of the human I saw, I was watching 17-year-old boys with such care for the little ones. And because in speaking to you before I left, I knew there was something that wasn't right with Western culture. There is something that is missing. And I saw it in Mongolia, the connection, the love, the joy they have in each other's company and supporting each other to get better. There wasn't the shaming and the abuse and the violence that I often see working with young people. And here we are in really hard conditions, some mornings, no electricity, no water, it was bloody cold. But these kids are just thriving because they want to help their community. They want to help each other. And we're doing that through, helping them get us that second access to English, learning English. And it was an extraordinary experience. Yeah. And what really won me about Sarah's heart is saying that she wants this summer camp to be the capital of children's happiness.
Yeah.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah. You're me.
Yeah. Pick me.
Yeah. Pick me. So that's an interesting. First of all, how many children attend the camp?
Before its capacity of the children's camp, during the like Soviet time, 800 children. I appointed in 20th of July as a director. Then as I worked in the also very hard in the 5 days, 6 days. Then as I was opened, beginning we have 60 kids. Then is also this summer camp, we have worked this year 300 kids being happy together, 110 mothers and families and the fathers to how to help them in a good community development, how they with the family roots, grassroots in the being the Mongolian happiness of family. We served this summer 21 days, 400 people.
Wow. So that's a lot. That's a big impact because they all go home and then multiply out the knowledge by sharing with their friends or family. Or can I ask in terms of the program, so do they learn English at school during the year without being at the camp, or is this the only time?
So no, is how is important is Mongolian children, they also to learn English, they have to discover the world. This is world our home. If they know it's like in the world news and this is like cultural things, Mongolian intelligent Mongolian kids, how to communicate world, save the life and to save the world. Some of them don't speak English, some of them beginners, some of them they already have started to learn English high school. Then it's easy for us. There is lots of beginners, intermediate, and that they have some levels. They can learn English. Children have to learn labor, how the young people who work, who help in this camp, we paid some amount of money. They could be some tasks to their family tasks. And this I would like to, if I'm retired, I would like to be very relaxing. Okay, next generation, you are like in the director of the children's camp. You are English teacher of the children's camp. My propose is like 10 years propose.
And I saw that happen because the very last day there, some of the young people who had come to learn English, the teachers handed the teaching role to them. And they had to take over. It was very funny because on the Thursday, they were all mucking around. On the Friday, they'd become teachers.
Yes.
What? Yeah. The flip was incredible. A little bit of authority. And they were, sit up, eat your breakfast, clean up after yourself. Like, very good.
Yeah, that's clever. So just finally on that, Velvet, in terms of yourself just arriving, how much then you're jumping into it, like how was that for you? You literally arrived how long before you were actually at the summer camp?
The next day.
Ooh,
so I think it's
deep
like
end.
Deep end, any job, you stand there and you look at the group and you kind of gauge a little bit by asking some questions, who can help you out, who can translate for you. We just start asking questions and then you watch the ones who are bored. So you go, I've got to shift something because they're not getting it. So we started playing some drama games because, as you know, I've got this huge bag of skills. I've worked in Indigenous communities. I've worked in communities that don't speak English. And then, of course, there are some other English speakers here too. There's a beautiful young woman, Adele, and she is French and she's had to learn English. So she had certain ways of teaching English that I didn't know. So we kind of just worked together to go from, beginners, intermediate, and the advanced speakers. Yeah. But you've got to jump in, Mel. There's no point just putting a toe in. Just throw yourself in and somehow you figure it out and you make mistakes. As I said to them, don't worry about your English. Be happy you're making mistakes because we're all practicing together, because I don't speak Mongolian.
So they're already one up on you because they speak.
They're already. So I was trying to say they can speak 2 languages. I've got 1. So don't worry about making mistakes. Yeah.
Did you tell them that we're all very bad at speaking English as well?
Oh, all this, I said, look, I don't speak English. I speak Australian.
That's
it's a different language altogether.
And speaking it to writing it, another whole thing. So awesome. So, okay, well, that's amazing.
Look, Mel, I'd like to share. I've just had this little dream cloud happening going, well, look, when some of Sarah's students are quite competent in English, what is the dream of, say, having them come to Australia for 4 or 5 weeks, land in a job where they can be immersed in English, do some traveling? I don't see why we couldn't do that.
You just have the idea, and that's where it starts, right?
Yeah. And then to be able to support the summer school with some resources like, pencils and paper. And like I told Sarah, you send a box of books to India.
Right.
And to be able to help a crate.
500
books.
Wow.
So, and this is it. I can't do something about everything in the world, but I can do something about the people who are in front of me. Yeah.
I would like to go back a little bit further to, you were saying yourself, Sarah, you've come to this passion for these young people. What's your background? Where have you come from that you would care for these young people like you have to create such an amazing experience for them?
I have also another job as English teacher. I was teaching in the private school in Huskul province. I was teaching 5 years. Then is also because of that is uh, another thing I was is community leader. And as I have met lot of families and there's like my women's group kids. Then it's because of that it is very important. And I am also in tour guide also is like recommended by Lonely Planet. And as if is I have to prepare my new generation
Mm.
who are very tough. They should beginning, of course, they have to know is I'm Mongolian.
Mm.
How Mongolian kids and they love nature, they take care of each other,
Mm.
parents is respectful to elderly people. Then is also animals. It's very important. We have 5 cattle and the goat, sheep, horses, homeland of the like nice animal country. Then is also this is starts in the children has to learn also have to learn English. Then
Mm.
it's very good mixture of the
Mm.
life.
Mm.
This is my dream and this I have many students, they called me teacher.
Mm.
I have some students from Ulaanbaatar.
Mm.
They also is participate my English course. And in the summertime they also came back is 2 3 days before to 1st of September. And as I'm very appreciated myself. Okay, I'm English teacher. I'm teacher Sarah. I have to do good things for the children.
Mm.
And it's also it's mothers care for children,
Mm. That's
sharing.
lovely. You gave us a beautiful picture then of the culture of Mongolia, because I think that is a challenge for people. They see it as a patchwork of the countries that surround you and not necessarily of the culture. Velvet, what's your observation?
Look, I've had a dream and a love affair with Mongolia since I was about 14. Like my first horse, my horse was called Chinggis Khan. And I have read books and watched movies and the story of Marco Polo, the story of the Kublai Khan. And I just, I had this insane idea that I wanted to meet the reindeer herders and the Tuvan shamans. This is like these worlds in me collided. And so I started dreaming. I shared with Saraa that I had a dream where a shaman came to me. And I sent Saraa like a picture of the costumes. And she said, "Oh, yes, I know that person." So like I am so lucky. So I had a meeting with the shaman. And what really amazes me is that even though from a Western standard you would say there was poverty here, the richness of heart and spirit is what I see lacking in the West. And Mel, you saw me. I needed to get out because it was just, there has been so many changes over COVID that I can't quite stomach in my own country. But here in Mongolia, I found that fierce generosity and that constant willingness to lift each other up and help each other. And, I did the tour with Saraa. She got me to the reindeer herders. And all along the way, there is gifts and money exchanged and kindness. I've spoken to tourists who were riding around Mongolia who said every family said, "Come and stay with us. We will look after you. We will feed you." That's not something that happens in the West anymore. I find that the people have less, they actually give more. And I've seen this in Mongolia, the richness of spirit, the richness of heart, the richness of sharing the very little they have in exchange for no reason, just because this is their way. Mm.
So you're out there in the regional area, and I can see that in the photos, big open plains, the camping, but I've also seen the photos of the big city. So there is your major capital, and obviously
Ulaanbaatar, yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
It's Ulaanbaatar.
Ulaanbaatar.
So these children that have come to you at the camp, have they come from the city and going out to nature, or do they normally live in nature?
This is very important question.
Oh.
Because Namat's family is kids, they stay in the outside with the nature. They help parents, and there's also they ride the horse and there's milk the cows, and the boys and girls have a lot of tasks to help family summertime. Then it's also usually in summer camp in the city boys, city girls, they come from Ulaanbaatar because nowadays is we don't take care so much our kids because kids have sometimes lot of in computer and notebook. They addicted in the Facebook. Because of that is I think when I teach English in my guest house, it is very hot city also for us. They need in the like fresh air. They need good rest outside of the Murong in my city. Then is also I would like to feed them very fresh cow milk and the yogurt, and there's also fresh food, and I would like to supply them. Then is also number one thinking in this to some city children summertime they need good rest for good for the oxygen, and it's good for being friends, and also good for their health to good rest and the very fresh air.
So that's something in common we have. There's children everywhere in the world that are either in the city and need to get to nature or live in a regional or rural setting that need to then also learn new skills. We started this conversation with you both finding each other and absolutely straight away feeling that sense of sister and connection and commonalities. Is that in the way you work as well? Is that what you found, that how you work with your community is similar? Because I know Velvet's work, a lot of people that will watch this will know Velvet's work with community and all community.
I think Sarah is another us. I look at your work, Mel, and I see you in Saraa. Everybody knows her. Everybody comes to Saraa asking for help. People turn up at 2 o'clock in the morning asking for help.
Oh no, they wouldn't do that to me. I'd be asleep.
Well, they probably do. But Saraa is quite famous here. Everybody knows her. Yeah, her just knowing Saraa is like a bit of a passport because people know her work. So, and in terms of, you know, that heart space of wanting to uplift the community and being really, really generous and probably always broke. It's similar. We're all similar people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Yes.
Oh, amazing. Well, we call it community cultural development, the way we work. We have that title. And there are lots of people that aspire to work with community, but I think the key difference is the development aspect, that we are not just doing it for a nice time, to have a good time, but actually to develop people's work and opportunities with them, to ask them.
With them, yeah.
Yeah. Nothing
And to
for
help
them
them,
without them. Yeah.
and to help them raise themselves up. So eventually, Mel, we do ourselves out of a job. As Sarah said, she eventually wants to just retire because all the young people, they're running it. They've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we're not even mentioned because we empower them so much that
Yeah.
they gain their confidence and feel they did it all by themselves. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very proud. So you, beautiful area that you're in, and you talked about where you were brought up, and then you found yourself as a community leader. What was that journey like for you, Saraa?
Yes, I grew up in the Hopscotch Lake. It is very famous blue crystal lake. I grew up there. This is, I think, inside this is very high opportunity to grow up and brought up me this area. We call this is very spirituality. We call it like Mother Lake. We sometimes Ocean Lake, because this is not ocean, but it's very nice. It's big lake, 110 kilometers of land, and there's also winter time only crystal. So nice lake. Then it's also very blue. Blue is like my favorite color. Then it's also because of that is this lake is like water. Sometimes I am very exhausted to work, tired, but I save energy from my lake. This is like a mothership, motherhood from my lake. because of that is I think inside all those, okay, Sarah, you grew up is very nice lake next to that. This is you have to love because this lake always support you. I always think about inside. Also, this is like a wonderful lake. And I'm very tired. I would like to just visit one day. Quebec is my home. I going is like, okay, next work. Where is next work? Then this is like my also heart belong to this lake, and that's why I am in this like friendly, helpful, and is to share my knowledge people because of the everybody can drink and my lake water. And it's also because of that I always save the energy from the lake. And it's also amazing lake in Hosko. Also I organize a tour. My life has started this. My family grew up there. This is like one of my imagination. Next thing is I always very proud of I'm Mongolian. Then is I also very thank this my golden generation from the Chinggis Khan. How is they gave us this is nice land, heart of Asia. There is also very quiet, peaceful, also landscape, and this step is so nice. And it's also I'm natural person, and it's because of that. Yeah, I used to work as a nurse. Then it's also because when I was a child, I would like to become doctor. Then it's also unfortunately I didn't have enough score for the medical university, and as I graduated as a nurse. And it's also meeting people, my dream, my hobby. And I would like to share what I know, lifting people, young people. In my one of my word, Mongolians, our generation has to trust these young people. Now young people is to lift us to in the future. This is because of that we have to trust young people. Of course they make a mistake.
Like we did.
Yeah.
But we
also
don't
is-
tell them though.
No.
Oh no, we know everything.
Okay.
So that's interesting. So you're a tour guide for visitors and you're tour guiding young people through to their adult life. I'm hearing as well the fact that even though you aspired to be a doctor and you became a nurse instead just because of silly qualifications, but the technically you're saving lives, right? Because when you empower young people to find their path, their lives change. Is that your experience?
Yes, this is because it's I like is also is one thing I would like to say is also is of course is when the young people make a mistake is forgiveness. Once time I say oh, okay you make a mistake still is okay I will. Then is also is sometimes is working young people is like they make a straight decision. For us is we have also already have made mistake. Then it's okay. Then it's because of that is nowadays is I'm also a woman politician. There is young people also sometimes they don't have any head. Sometimes they also follow the justice rules, and this political is very dirty sector. Then is why I'm inside in my heart. Okay, Sarah, I cannot change elderly people because they grew up during the Soviet time, during the communism. Then the young people they have to understand, and there's also democracy, how is important, freedom is justice, also transparency, very important. They have to participate and every make decision. They have to bark the local budget. Otherwise, if we are very quiet, we are not Mongolians. One day we don't have any justice, any freedom.
Yeah.
I said to Sarah, this is what I'm seeing in my country now. The big change and the censorship, the surveillance, the one story that's being told and only the one story. And we've had lots of conversations about what I've witnessed in the West. And what kind of why my heart needed to come away for a while.
Get perspective. Well, that's fascinating. So I think that's a really important thing. Sometimes people make assumptions about other places in the world, or that we are the ones that are getting it right and we're going to teach the others. This whole thing about first world, third world, I don't even understand that myself. Velvet and I are both what we call global citizens. I don't feel particularly Australian, even though I've been born here. I have lots of multicultural backgrounds as well, but I really honor you and your work, that you would give this time and your leadership and your vision to young people. What is your hope for the future, and what could people do to support your work?
Yes, and there's also is one thing is I really like to for me is I have only a small guest house business, and this my life is okay because my husband is retired from the army. He has good salary from the army every month, retiring retirement grants, and everything is okay. I have small guest house, apartment, cars, everything. But just as I'm thinking about how to build very good relationship in the future in the community people, they should be very strong. They have to build their life themselves, and this, not all those to directly giving the money, and this, they have to produce their own products to sell the market. And this Mongolian is huge agricultural country. Then as I'm thinking about to how to, and I need in people's support, because it's for the to, for example, if I have is enough budget to then raise the money for the children's camp, I would like to do like and um, fix this camp is renew again to the like in the once time I would like to accept in the maybe less than 200 kids once. Children can visit to the how to milk in the cows, how to milk goats. Also, they have to build their own greenhouse. They have to and there's to like and grow the vegetables every morning. They have to eat their own fresh vegetables because our girl camp is located in children's camp is located 18 kilometers from our capital city. Then is every morning I drive myself to the food from the Morong. If the food supply is over, I have to go drive myself, and this very rocky road bridge was broken down, and there's also is if there is a flooding, difficult to crossing this place. This is my dream is would like to build a small bakery, and it's like to build and because Mongolia is very well known country, grow wheat, very fresh wheat. We can make own bakery for kids directly to hot bakery, smells nice in my dream.
Lovely.
Then is also is everything is I thought in language course also like labor and happiness of the children. They have to be our Mongolians. And maybe why not is like Mongolian traditional handicraft things children make when they free time. And is we need lot of I have lot of dreams in this, and after that is I have to sit down to sit the computer Mongolian English web page to this summer camp, how to ask in the local government money, how to raise the money to support me and this to our staffs and this our colleagues.
With the connection, if we really work with it, bringing some of the more advanced English speakers to Australia and maybe giving them an immersive English experience. I don't see why over the coming years I couldn't bring some skilled men to help do the school up. I mean, you dream it, you start following the breadcrumbs, you do it, So I think this could be the start. Well, I know this is the start of a really beautiful friendship and support network. Like what you did with your friends in India, Mel. I could come back and raise money to send paper and pencils and sharpeners and books, just things to start lifting the kids up, and then maybe the next time I come back, bring some skilled electrician or a carpenter and say, all right, we're going to come for a month, and for food and board, we're going to help do up the school, and do a bit of travel, of course. It works, it works beautifully to be immersed in this country, because, oh my God, it is so beautiful. Just all I've gone is wow, wow, wow. Oh, wow.
Well, thank you, Saraa Munkhbayar. Is that right?
Yes, thank you, Munkhbayar, yes.
Munkhbayar. And Velvet Eldred, again, on what do they call sign out on your travel?
Yeah,
over and out. We look forward to finding out more. But Saraa, I know Velvet is a very genuine, long life friend. You will never get rid of her, even if you try to be there. So that's really beautiful. It's lovely to experience the story of you two together, but also about this beautiful summer school. I think the camp sounds amazing. The photos have been very special, and I really thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you.